Hello and very good afternoon, everyone. This is Snehal Gadre from P Manifold, and I welcome you all to the first webinar of the series, Efficiency and Reliability in Power Utilities. Considering the present situation of power distribution sector, P Manifold, ICAI, and Spark Group has came together to bring this webinar series to you all. ICAI is a member of Copper Alliance and the Indian arm of ICAI Limited, leading not-for-profit organization. Our second organizer, P Manifold, is an energy and utilities focused strategic research and consulting company, enabling smart and clean tech market development and growth. Spark Group is an India-focused online forum of utility professionals with a focus on transmission and distribution. Today we have with us Dr. Gupta, Director JPIT Noida as an expert speaker, Mr. Manas Kundu, Director ICAI, and Mr. Patnaik, DGM at OPTCL and Coordinator for a Spark Group as a moderator. Now I will request Manas to take it forward from here and share more details about today's topic. Over to you, Manas.
Yes. Good afternoon, dear participants. It's a pleasure to extend my warm welcome on this afternoon on a very pertinent topic. The kind of interest what we have seen for this topic, which is otherwise considered to be a very dull topic and technical topic, that gives us the confidence that electricity is the lifeline, and the electricity gets delivered through the distribution system for the user. And in times of emergency like this, reliability and efficiency in all the power utilities becomes extremely important to keep the lifeline on. So in this thought process, we started this journey to organize the webinar series. So today we are meeting for the first webinar, and I give you a very short insight that will make us to be prepared to understand in much better manner from our expert speaker today, Dr. Hari Om Gupta. So Indian utilities, the distribution companies, they have key performance indicators, and distribution transformer has number of issues. These are the utility KPIs which all of us are familiar. Topmost priority is loss reduction. The second priority is reliability improvement, and the third priority is doing more with less. So enhancing the KVA capacity of the transformer for better percentage loading. So these are on the technical side. There are other KPIs on financial and commercial side, which we are not dealing with in today's session. So what are the issues around DTs? As of this year, in the month of March, we have around 12.5 million DTs in our Indian distribution system. But unfortunately, almost 10% of the DTs, they fail every year, which is a huge financial loss, more than 5,000 crore. And the issues are high failure rate, high technical losses, because distribution sector have not been able to invest fresh money for infrastructure improvement, except for last 10 years or so during some of the central government schemes. So there has been a weak infrastructure for carrying the model load, and there are challenging current practices. So these are the key issues around the distribution transformer. I would like you to go through this short movie, which will make it very clear that what are the challenges for the distribution transformer and the distribution system that we are facing today. Snehal, take it through.
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm playing the video.
क्षेत्र में पिछले कुछ सालों में प्रगति के बावजूद भारत अभी भी विद्युत की बढ़ती मांग को पूरा करने की चुनौतियों का सामना कर रहा है। बढ़ती आबादी, तेजी से शहरीकरण और ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में बिजली की मांग से बिजली की खपत बढ़ी है। ऊर्जा की मांग बढ़ने को पूरा करने में भारत सक्षम तो है, लेकिन ऊर्जा के क्षेत्र में बेहतर प्रगति के बावजूद बिजली की मांग को पूरा करना एक बड़ी चुनौती है, और इसका कारण है डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के क्षेत्र में होने वाली समस्याओं का उचित प्रबंधन न होना, जिससे ग्रामीण भारत पर सीधा असर पड़ता है। कृषि को भारी नुकसान होता है, छोटे कारोबार और व्यवसायों को हानि के अलावा बिजली कंपनियों को भी नुकसान उठाना पड़ता है।
देश में विद्युतीकरण का काम जोरों से चालू है। अब तक सारे गांवों में बिजली पहुंच गई है, लेकिन सारे घरों में बिजली अभी तक पहुंची नहीं है। हमें विश्वास है कि ये बिजली जरूर आगे के कुछ सालों में पहुंच जाएगी, लेकिन सबसे बड़ा सवाल ये है कि ये बिजली रिलायबल और अफोर्डेबल कैसी रहे। उसके लिए ये ट्रांसफार्मर्स जो है हमारे, जिनका फेल्यूर रेट आज की तारीख में 12%, 13% हाई, उसके कारण सारे बिजली कंपनियों को बहुत खर्चा उठाना पड़ता है। वो खर्चा कम करने के लिए ये ट्रांसफार्मर की रिलायबिलिटी और एफिशिएंसी बढ़ाना जरूरी है।
बिजली उत्पादन से वितरण तक लगभग 30% ऊर्जा का नुकसान हो जाता है, जिसमें 4 से 5% लॉस सिर्फ डीटी यानी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर के माध्यम से होता है, जबकि अंतरराष्ट्रीय स्तर पर होने वाला नुकसान सिर्फ 1% है। इस लॉस का सीधा असर न सिर्फ बिजली कंपनियों पर पड़ता है, बल्कि उपभोक्ताओं को इसका सीधे तौर पर आर्थिक नुकसान उठाना पड़ता है। डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर सतत कार्य करते हुए हमारे घरों तक बिजली पहुंचाकर अपनी जिम्मेदारी निभाता है। अगर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर की सही देखभाल न की जाए तो उसके फेल होने का जोखिम बढ़ जाता है।
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर में चूंकि संख्या इतनी बढ़ गई है डिस्कॉम के साथ में कि अब ये संभव नहीं है कि डिस्कॉम हर एक ट्रांसफार्मर के ऊपर जाके उसका पीरियोडिकली मेंटेनेंस कर सके। लगभग सभी डिस्कॉम की स्थिति यही है। जो मैन पावर है, चाहे वो उनकी अपनी रेगुलर एम्प्लॉइज हो, चाहे वो उनके पास कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे हो, संख्या इतनी ज्यादा नहीं है कि वो हर एक ट्रांसफार्मर का पीरियोडिकली मुआयना कर सके। तो कुछ ऐसा व्यवस्था होना चाहिए जिसमें कि ऑटोमेटिकली ट्रांसफार्मर की हेल्थ से संबंधित डेटा किसी एक रिमोट टूल्स पे आ जाए, टाइम टू टाइम उसका एनालाइज हो जाए और उसके ऊपर मीनिंगफुल आउटपुट निकल सके। तो उसके लिए जरूरी है कि ट्रांसफार्मर को अपनी बात खुद कहना चाहिए। खुद बात कहना चाहिए, इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि ट्रांसफार्मर में जो मीटर लगा हुआ है, उस मीटर की डेटा रिमोट में ट्रांसफर होना चाहिए और उस डेटा के साथ में ट्रांसफार्मर के तीनों फेज में जो करंट फ्लो हो रहा है, जो उसकी लोडिंग है, वो उसकी जानकारी होना चाहिए कि ये ट्रांसफार्मर तीनों फेज में करंट क्या आ रहे हैं, ट्रांसफार्मर कैपेसिटी क्या है, और साथ ही साथ ट्रांसफार्मर का टेम्परेचर क्या है, ये भी रिमोटली ट्रांसफर होना चाहिए।
2017-18 के आंकड़ों के अनुसार भारत विश्व का तीसरा सबसे बड़ा ट्रांसफार्मर बाजार है। 62,000 MVA और 2,41,000 MVA पावर ट्रांसफार्मर है। साथ ही 2009-2018 के अनुसार कंपाउंड एनुअल ग्रोथ रेट 6.2% है और 2005 से 2018 तक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर इंस्टॉल स्टॉक ग्रोथ रेट 9.6% रहा है। इसके साथ ही 9.6 मिलियन से अधिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर 535 मिलियन केवीएस बिजली भारत को पहुंचाने का कार्य कर रहे हैं और कुल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर की एसेट वैल्यूएशन है 70,000 करोड़ रुपए। डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर के फेल होने से हर वर्ष होने वाले नुकसान से बचा जा सकता है अगर हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर को फेल ही न होने दें, क्योंकि हर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर की आयु लगभग 25 साल होती है और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर 25 वर्षों तक कार्य करता रहे, उसके लिए आवश्यक है कि उसकी पूरी देखरेख की जाए।
ट्रांसफार्मर को टाइम टू टाइम जो उसके ऑयल वगैरह सैंपल वगैरह जो रूटीन स्पेसिफाई किया है, REC ने भी किया है और स्टैंडर्ड्स में भी डिफाइंड है, तो वो क्या कहते हैं फेथफुली ऑब्जर्व करना चाहिए। अगर आप फेथफुली ऑब्जर्व नहीं करेंगे तो डेफिनेटली आप अपने ट्रांसफार्मर को फेल ही देखेंगे। इसलिए उसको जरूर ऑब्जर्व करना चाहिए और इससे बहुत फायदा है। अगर आप एग्जाम्पल लें तो NDPL का तो फेल्यूर रेट 1% से भी कम है। वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर थे, ऐसा क्यों है? दो ही पॉइंट है उनके। एक तो ये है वो कॉपर बाउंड ट्रांसफार्मर खरीदते हैं, एल्यूमिनियम बाउंड खरीदते ही नहीं, नंबर 1। और दूसरा पॉइंट ये है कि वो अपनी ट्रांसफार्मर की हेल्थ का कार्ड बनाते हैं, हिस्ट्री मेंटेन करते हैं और जब भी ट्रांसफार्मर फेल होता है तो उसकी प्रॉपर एनालिसिस करते हैं कि क्यों फेल हुआ, क्या रीजन हुआ। तो इससे क्या कहते हैं, वो उनको एक नॉलेज बेस बनता जाता है।
हमारी रोजमर्रा की जरूरतों में AC, कूलर और गीजर आदि बिजली से चलने वाले उपकरणों का प्रयोग हर दिन बढ़ रहा है, जिससे बिजली की खपत भी तेजी से बढ़ी है और यही बिजली का बढ़ता लोड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर के फेल होने का कारण बन जाता है। इसलिए ये आवश्यक है कि बिजली कंपनियां डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर को फेल होने से बचाएं, जिससे बिजली कंपनियों की स्थिति में सुधार आ सके।
अगर कंपनी डिजाइन को स्टैंडर्ड कर दे, तो डिजाइन अगर स्टैंडर्ड हो गई तो उससे क्या होगा कि जो कंपनी खरीद रही है, जो ट्रांसफार्मर खरीद रही है, वो हजारों में खरीदे जाते हैं, 10,000 20,000 ऐसे खरीदे जाते हैं। तो उससे क्या होगा, सारे डिजाइन, सारे मैन्युफैक्चरर एक ही डिजाइन का सप्लाई करेंगे तो उसकी रिपेयर बहुत सस्ती हो जाएगी, फास्ट भी हो जाएगी और ये आप रिलायबिलिटी उसकी ट्रांसफार्मर की मेंटेन करने में आपको बहुत ज्यादा आसानी होगी।
ऐसा ही कुछ बेहतरीन सुधार किया है टाटा पावर DDL। टाटा पावर DDL दिल्ली ने जब बिजली डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के क्षेत्र में कदम रखा तो चुनौतियां कम नहीं थी। 2002 में DT के माध्यम से हो रहे नुकसान का प्रतिशत 11% था।
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सेक्टर में ट्रांसफार्मर पावर सप्लाई की वैल्यू चेन में बहुत ही एक क्रिटिकल रोल प्ले करता है और ट्रांसफार्मर के फेलियर के कारण काफी कस्टमर्स अफेक्ट हो सकते हैं। सो जब हमने डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चालू की थी 2002 में, हमारा फेलियर रेट 11% था, जिसके कारण बहुत कस्टमर्स को पावर सप्लाई की दिक्कत हो गई थी।
लेकिन सही प्लानिंग और दूरदर्शिता दिखाते हुए टाटा पावर ने स्वयं की विश्व स्तरीय वर्कशॉप स्थापित की, जहां फेल हुए DT को अपनी स्वयं की कुशल टीम द्वारा मरम्मत की जाती है।
2005-6 के बाद हमने ये सोचा था कि हमें ट्रांसफार्मर रिपेयर्स खुद अपने ही वर्कशॉप में करनी चाहिए। इसके कारण हमने कुछ बेंचमार्किंग किया दुनिया के बाकी जगह पे जहाँ पे वर्कशॉप है, जहाँ से हम कुछ सीख सकते हैं और इसी तरह जापान के टेपको कंपनी के साथ हमने कोलैबोरेशन की थी। जब हमने ट्रांसफार्मर वर्कशॉप इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट करना चालू किया था तो इसी दौरान हमारी टीम की कैपेबिलिटी काफी बढ़ना चालू हो गया था, जिसके कारण ट्रांसफार्मर पर फेलियर रेट्स जो है वो काफी कम होना चालू हो गया था और इन 10 साल में हमारा ट्रांसफॉर्मर फेलियर रेट्स 11% से लेके 1% तक आ चुकी है। हमारी रिलायबिलिटी बढ़ चुकी है, क्वालिटी ऑफ रिपेयर्स बहुत ही उम्दा है और कस्टमर्स को हम देखते हैं कि उनको कुछ तकलीफ भी नहीं होती है। और आज जब भी हमने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट किया है, इसका NABL का एक्रेडिटेशन भी ले चुके हैं, जिसके कारण हमारी सारी टेस्ट जो ट्रांसफॉर्मर की होती है वो इन हाउस होती है, हमारी टीम करती है, चाहे वो ऑयल का टेस्टिंग हो या कंप्लीट ट्रांसफॉर्मर का वाइंडिंग का टेस्टिंग हो, जिसके कारण क्वालिटी, रिलायबिलिटी सब कुछ उम्दा है।
आज जहां देश में डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर का फेलियर रेट 15% है, वही टाटा पावर में DT के फेल होने की दर 1% से भी कम है।
At Tata Power DDL, to bring down the transformer failure rate, we have adopted standard practices for load monitoring, load balancing. We have adopted standardized usage of the color coding of the fuses. And in transformer workshop, we are ensuring that all our transformers are going through 100% routine test as per the IS 1108. We also have well-established oil testing lab. There we can carry out all sort of testing as per IS 335. Some of the best practices to mention, we ensure that to ensure the uniform tightness of the transformer, gasket, top cover plate, we are doing torque management. 100% of our transformer are going through air pressure test to ensure that there is no open point for moisture to ingress. Then we also ensure that with respect to the aging of the transformer, we retire our asset on the life estimation on the basis of insulation paper and oil. So by adopting certain processes and best practices, we have been able to bring down our losses less than 1%, whereas national average is around 15%. So there is a lot of scope to bring down the transformer failure rate for in all other utilities if some standard processes and best practices can be.
ये शुरुआत है इस उम्मीद के साथ कि आने वाले समय में ऊर्जा के क्षेत्र में नई तकनीकों और समाधानों को अपनाकर बिजली के नुकसान को कम करके हर घर तक बिजली पहुंचेगी और विश्व पटल पर भारत अग्रणी पंक्ति में खड़ा नजर आएगा।
Yes, over to you, Manas.
Thank you, Snehal, for facilitating that.
Yes, what?
I must express our sincere thanks for various individuals and entities who has helped us in producing this movie within a short time. And in India, we have centers of excellence which can help us in improving ourselves. So we don't have to look outward. Within ourselves, we have the capability which we can achieve for reducing the distribution transformer failure rate and improving the health of distribution companies. So today, our expert speaker is Dr. Horiom Gupta. Let me have the pleasure of introducing him. He is currently the director of JP Institute of Information Technology at Noida, and he was former professor, HOD, and dean in IIT Roorkee. He is non-executive director of Jabalpur Discom. Earlier, he was non-executive director in MP Power Transmission. He has been working for various sponsored and industrial projects, and mostly related to transformers. In fact, he is connected with a number of OEMs of transformers within the country, especially in the northern India, to whom he gives the guidance. He has been earlier the member of technical committee for distribution transformer of Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Government of India. Number of recommendations and prescription he has given over a period of time. On academic side, he is senior member, IEEE Fellow, Institute of Engineers India, and life member of NIQR, IST, and System Society of India. He has published over 360 research papers and 35 technical reports. and his research interests are in the area of computer-aided design, reliability engineering, power network optimization, distribution system automation, power quality, power and distribution transformer, and DBMS. So Dr. Gupta will take us through today the main topic, and I just have few things for housekeeping purpose. All the attendees, while we thank you for the patience, you are kept on mute mode. If you have a good internet connection, then you will be hearing us very clearly. You will see a chat box. In the chat box, you can put your question and we will take them up during the question and answer session, so that you will be hearing our expert to answer most of those questions. Besides that, later on, I just want to say that this is only the beginning. We want to have this knowledge sharing session, and today's presence in this web room of more than 160 people shows the importance what we assign to the electricity supply business and the distribution transformer, which is the lifeline to carry those electricity. So with that, I once again thank you and hand it over to our expert speaker, Dr. Gupta. Over to Dr. Gupta.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon to everybody. Now, this topic regarding the failure of distribution transformer. Now, the failure of distribution transformer is the issue from last so many decades, and reasons of the failures were analyzed at various stages, and those reasons are also analyzed by us. We also perform certain studies. Being an electrical engineer, we were more bothered regarding the electrical aspect, but we are ignoring mechanical aspect. And ultimate failure, whenever happens, it happens mechanical failure. Now, regarding the capacity of distribution transformers, their importance is already well explained. Now, the loss is in terms of the rupees to the utilities is one aspect, but loss to the customer is another important aspect. And this aspect of loss to the customer is many times of the cost of electricity, which we have never analyzed and considered, and which is also very important. Now we see two things, figure which are clearly over here. Urban DT failure, which is less, rural DT failure, which is more. As for I feel it is because of two very reasons. One is many DTs in urban areas are bigger in size and they are made of the copper, and they are under the shade. In case of the rural, DTs are mostly aluminum mount because lower rating, and they are not under the shade, so they are subjected to sunlight. Now, no doubt this all the figures are already explained by Mr. Manish, so I need not to repeat this. I come to the directly to the topic. The failure are basic reasons. One basic reason is the temperature rise, and temperature rise is a slow and continuous killer of any electrical equipment, including distribution transformer. Now you have the insulation which is deteriorated with chemical reaction because of the temperature, enamel, paper, or the oil. All the three, they are deteriorated with the temperature. Therefore, this is an important of parameters. I need not to comment about the enamel, because quality of enamel is also a very serious issue, because we have two plants, vertical plant and horizontal plant. Horizontal plant is cheaper and production is high. Therefore, to get a good quality enamel buyer from a vertical plant is quite difficult. Then come to the conductor. We basically have two conductors. We use copper, electrolyte copper, or the EC grade a good protection of only the fuse wire. This should do good job. But no doubt, when we talk of transferring the data, then automatically protection could be there. Now, if you see this particular diagram which before you, that how things take place in distribution transformer, certain decision on the management side. Management side, specifications depends on the management. Maintenance schedules depends on the management, how they take it. Now, lowest first price is also on the management to decide what is the total cost, lifetime cost, or the first cost. Then come to the monitoring, which is very important. Parameters has to be monitored, has to be controlled, has to be all the controls that things are working within the limits of the transformer. Now, because this particular transformer DT is mostly manufactured by the small and medium scale industries. Therefore, to control the workmanship is a very difficult task. Certain thing left out in the design may be causing some problem, and then instructions may not be changed, may not be proper, and then workmanship also become a major issue with these industries, because it requires continuous supervision. Then you have the material, whether to use aluminum, whether to use copper. We has to be cautious what material to be used. We will analyze, we will discuss this particular issue. Then you have got manufacturing processes. Again, the small scale and medium scale industries are there. Therefore, this aspect is also a challenging one. Then you have frequently switching and cold out problem. Two things. Is switching, always when we switch on a transformer, some damage take place. And another problem is cold pickup problem. Cold pickup problem means when a power supply is gone, whatsoever may be the reason, for half an hour or 1 hour, when you switch on after 1 hour or half an hour, 2 hours, then what you will see, all the load is thermally controlled loads, all will be switched on. When they are all switched on, and there will be a lot of load on the transformer, which may cause the failure. There will also be inrush current that may also damage something to the DTs. Then you have your DTs are exposed to sun, which is also a dangerous situation. Exposing a sun means increasing in temperature by 15 to 30 degrees centigrade extra, for which we do not take care, and that is also important, one must see. Now, to see these particular examples which we collected in our study, that what is happening in the failure of the transformer. When you're looking the failure of this transformer, what you look at, see over here, and you are looking that between two spacers, there are failure. Everywhere you see between two spacers, there is a failure in ST binding. Between two spacers, failure is happening. Now you have to look why it is happening between two spacers. Means that conductor is vibrating, and when it is vibrating, there are the forces. In these forces causing the fatigue, they are causing the creep, and creep behavior of the conductor becomes the important. And if you see, always inner side of the coils failure rate is more failures are observed, and that is because on the inner side electromagnetic forces are much more. So this is very important analysis which is carried out by us under the project, funded project. And this is again between spacers, you see the failures are there in the coils. Everywhere in the between the spacers failure occur in all ST coils. Now come to the what is happening. We analyze systematically thermal stresses, then we have electrical stresses, partial discharges, and you have mechanical stresses. Now thermal stresses, electrical stresses do appear, and mechanical stresses are very important when it comes to the type of the conductor to be used. Now why we are discussing the ST coils and LT termination? Because ST coils, as I have shown you the pictures, their failures are taking place between the spacers. In LT termination, I will tell you the practical example for what is happening to LT termination. Okay, just after a couple of slides. Now you see the state that 30% failures are in the warranty period, which is quite a alarming situation for the element mount transformers. Now the temperature rise also a issue that we see. We made the temperature rise, let us say binding temperature 45 degrees centigrade, that is the limit. 50 degrees the atmospheric temperature, then it becomes 95 degree, or a smaller transformer 90 degrees centigrade. Whereas our performance temperature as per the IS is 75 degrees centigrade. Therefore, the cooling is provided corresponding to 75 degrees centigrade, whereas temperature reaches to a level of 95%. So this is 20 degree or 15 degree extra temperature. It means it is causing faster deterioration of the insulation. So no doubt the insulation, as you may be knowing, so not taking much time on this particular slide, because insulation loses its elasticity, the tensile strength gone, and gets brittle and cracks even after a low mechanical stress. No doubt mechanical stress ultimately causes the failure of insulation, which has already become very big. And let's see the last particular para, where 9 to 11 degree increase in the temperature halves the life of the insulation. So it means consumption of the life by increase of 9 to 11 degree temperature becomes the twice the rate of the normal rate. So that is the alarming situation regarding thermal stresses. Now you see this, if you increase the temperature by 1 degree, then you are, if you take increase the temperature by 1 degree, whole life of the transformer, then life of the transformer reduced by 1.6 years. So that is also a very important things to remember. Then rural distribution transformers are exposed to direct sunlight, that is 10 to 25 degree extra temperature rise when sun is there, and we have sun quite many days in our country. Therefore, we can expect the failure rate because of the thermal stresses. Now another thing is, you are getting transformer nowadays manufactured, let us say maybe amorphous or foil type. In that case, you provide the duct for cooling. Only two sides ducts are provided. Other side, inner side ducts are not provided. This transformer will pass the test, heat and test, but hot spot will be high, and we are not measuring the hot spot directly, we are just calculating. So this is also cause of the poor reliability of this type of transformers. Then come to the mechanical properties of the conductor, which is very important, and which is I am emphasizing again and again. And this is, see what are the things: contact resistance, contact force, which is very important, seed defect, some defect we have provided in the design or manufacturing, and that cannot be removed, that will cause the failure, oxidation metal creep, heating, cleaning, crimping, tightening, sharp bends. This is also important. Sharp bend causing the fatigue. Vibrations, shrinkage of insulation and board during service, and these are important mechanical parameter, out of which metal fatigue, elasticity of metal, metal creep, they are very important things to be considered. Now, if you think the mechanism, percent. So whatever number of cycles, every cycle these cracks are going to be double. Now come over here. This is the metal fatigue. That is what we have already talked, 40%. Now come over here, endurance limit, which is already said 40% of the tensile strength, which is the ultimate strength. Okay, so then elasticity of the metal, the important parameter, because higher the elasticity, it means creep will be less. Okay, and this give you the spring action. And spring action, whenever the vibrations, the spring action, or whenever there is shrinkage, this spring action will take care of it. Plastic deformation is permanent and no spring action is there. Permanent elongation at elevated temperature below the yield point stress, that is the creep. Means it as you have not reached to the yield point stress, before this stress is there, temperatures are increased, then there will be elongation, and this elongation will be permanent, and this will be time dependent, which is longer period of time, between 1 month, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, even it may take 1 year to cause the failure, sufficient creep, which may cause the failure. So this is very important to be considered, as I given you example why failure is happening in HT coils. Now see the data. The creep temperature for steel is 270 degrees centigrade. It means 270 degrees centigrade. After that, the permanent deformation in the steel will occur. Okay, so we have to take care. Steel when temperature become more than 270 degrees. Copper, this temperature is 135 degrees centigrade. So up to 138 degrees centigrade, no problem, no serious problem. After that, problem starts. In aluminium, this temperature is only 7 degrees centigrade. It means even at the room temperature, this is going to cause the problem. They are going to be permanent deformation. And I'm next slide, maybe I'll give you the very perfect example for this. Lead minus 70 degrees centigrade, it means you can't use. Wherever stress is there, lead cannot be used. Solder, that is iron solder you have used in electronics, this solder is about minus 80 degrees centigrade is the creep temperature limit. This solder cannot be used where stress is there. So it is only to be used when stress is not there, otherwise you can't use it. You have to go for brazing. Important. Whenever you say there is a failure of the solder, wherever you have done, because then you talk it is die solder or something else, no region. Region is the only creep. Because of that, it is failing. So this is the temperatures which I have given, which is very important to see. Now look at this. Why house wiring changed from aluminum to copper? Have you analyzed why you have done it? Earlier, we were having only aluminum wiring. Where was the problem? Problem was only at the termination and joints nowhere else. Because contact resistance increases at the termination or at the joint. When contact resistance increases at the termination or the joint, then there is a local temperature rise, which may cause short circuit, may cause the heating. You have seen the example, or we might have not seen, we have seen the example of many of the plugs burning whenever we are putting a heater or something, geyser or something else, and it is because of aluminum. Why? It is because of the creep behavior, nothing else. Because when you are tightening this aluminum, with the time, maybe 1 month, maybe 6 days, maybe 6 months, this get loosening. Loosening means what? This get permanent deformation because of the poor creep behavior. And then this contact resistance increases, so there is a burning. So it is burned. It means you have changed the wiring of your house from aluminum to copper, but we have never thought of changing the aluminum to copper in transformers, where transformer wiring is subjected, all the time subjected to many stresses, forces. So that is what is there. Now come to the why steel wire in ACSR conductor. This is another example I am giving you, because this is when I was delivering a lecture in Lucknow in a seminar. When I give this example of creep behavior, then one of the engineer came and told me that now I come to know what is the importance of joining the ACSR conductor, why they are failing. They are failing, joints are failing. Joints are only failing when there is stress on the aluminum wires. So long the stress is on the steel wire, no question of failure. So as soon as your connection is bad and you are putting stress on the aluminum wire, then with the time, maybe 1 month, maybe 3 months, depending on the stress and temperature condition, it's bound to fail. We can't stop it. Therefore, we have to take care in joining ACSR conductors. So I've given you the two very practical examples where we have direct seen the results, what is happening. Therefore, mechanical fatigue as well as the creep behavior, both are very important. Now look at this diagram over here. You have the spacers, and between spacer there is a thin wire in ST windings, and this wire is hanging between these two spacers. When it's hanging between these two spacers, when there is electromagnetic forces coming when it is in operation or overloading or short circuit, these forces will come and this wire will hang as shown in the second V diagram. The wire is hanging, and this wire is hanging. With the creep, this get elongated. With creep, it get elongated, and when get elongated, then there will be touching of these wires between two coils. They are touching each other. When they are touching each other, no doubt there is a voltage, so failure will occur. That is what you have seen very clearly in the diagram. This is also same thing we are looking at, that the adjacent innermost HV coil, because their forces are more. Outermost turn, the forces are less. So the more problem could be seen on the inner part of the binding. Now look at this particular diagram which I made for you, that how this creep behavior changes the life. See, reduction of contact force due to creep. Due to creep, there is a permanent deformation. When there is a permanent deformation, the force which is you given, the force for the contact, that force is reduced because the creep, so there is a play. So when there is a play, then contact resistance increases. Once the contact resistance has increased, then contact temperature will rise. When contact temperature will rise, so two things happens. One is faster oxidation because higher temperature. Second thing, creep rate rises. Okay. The creep rate also rises. That is loosening, further loosening of the conductor. So reduction in the contact force, further reduction in the contact force, and that with the contact resistance increases. And this cycle continue. This cycle may continue for a month, may continue for 10 days, may continue for 3 months, or even for a year. And then it is converted into a failure. This is exactly happening in house wiring. Exactly same thing is happening in house wiring, and we did not analyze from this particular point of view. So this is no doubt arrangement, practical arrangement we made in our lab at IIT Roorkee. We performed the experiment for the behavior of the creep by taking a particular wire, and then we did it. So this is we analyze when there is a all aluminum wire, the creep rate is very high. Creep rate is very high. There are three when temperature is 100 degrees centigrade and force is 40 megapascal. Now this is also example for the copper. Same example copper. Creep is there, which is bound to be there. It's very less creep, very less, and you find that your creep when it goes in tertiary range is very after a very long time it can go into tertiary stage. So very good quality as far as the creep is concerned. That is what we observe in the laboratory. You can also see the results tabulated over here, that when you see that as the first column, when temperature is 100 degrees centigrade, which is the normal temperature in case of the distribution transformers, stress should be 40 megapascals, and then EC grade aluminum wire, okay, tertiary state appears when after 3000 hours, wherever it is not happening in case of copper. Okay, so now you can think of that the creep behavior of aluminum is much higher. It may be, you can think of 6 to 20 times depending on the various temperature levels and pressure. Therefore, very high creep in case of aluminum. So this is also steady state creep behavior that you can find the figures in many multiple of times. Let us 140, that is a too high temperature for aluminum, and stress is 65. Then you can say 79.3 into 10 raised to 6, where was 6.9 into 10 raised to 5. So more than 10 times higher. So this is again same thing, that when loosening is happening and because of this creep, that is we explained earlier also, so there is no point in repeating over here, but one point we make here also we make there, that these spacers, spacing of spacers, radial spacer is very important, and they must be equi-spaced. They must be equi-spaced. When they are equi-spaced, then you get the best result. If they are not equi-spaced because of the poor workmanship, then wherever space is more, failure will occur from that particular state. So this is also arrangement we make for the testing of the fatigue, where we make the mechanical setup and we tested it. Now fatigue test on copper, the result shows the behavior of the aluminum and copper. It is three times better in terms of the stress. The copper is 3 times better. Therefore, if we want to use aluminum, we must have 3 times area. Then it is difficult. We do not do like that. As an electrical engineer, we look for the current density. We do not look for the mechanical behavior, which is equally important. Now, that is creep behavior we have explained you in quite say detail. Now let us take other things of the stresses that are appearing in the transformer, insulation and oil, use of pre-compressed press mode. Either it should be pre-compressed, otherwise you do the proper pressing. opening of the coils. Okay, opening otherwise also required. Then quality of insulation paper, this is also very important. We should not compromise on the quality of insulation paper. This should be high density paper should be used. If you use low density paper, then there could be a cracks or possibility of puncture will be more. Avoid use of bakelite tubes. Bakelite tubes has got a poor strength, so better to make your tubes by the latheroid rather than using the bakelite wherever possible for you. Then no doubt quality of oil need not to discuss. There are many platforms where quality of oil is discussed. CRGO, no doubt CRGO earlier was a most important issue as far as the cost of the transformer is concerned. Now practically no issue with low loss transformer. When we are manufacturing low loss transformer, you can't compromise with the quality of CRGO because you will not get the losses. So that is one part. If they are properly tested, nobody do any adjustment with the CRGO. Yes, this is the next point is hot galvanized fasteners, nut and bolts. Yes, they must be hot galvanized. What is the leakage of the leakage in distribution transformer? It is the one important parameter. Leakage is near the bolts is because of cold galvanized fasteners used. You must use hot galvanized fasteners. Cold galvanized fasteners should not be used. This is the reason of leakage. Another for the leakage is the poor welding, where micro holes are left. That is also cause the leakage of oil. Then I come to the design aspect, what designer should take care. No doubt all the technical people do the design, they must be doing good design, no doubt, but they are also under pressure from the management to economize the design. So, but still, by making certain compromise, the life of the transformer should not be compromised. Okay, so proper clearances and duct for cooling, that is important. So hot spots do not appear, otherwise there will be failures, and we will have too many failures in the warranty period. Recommend use of the corrugated cylinder between HV and LV for better cooling. Anything else? For aluminum, consider the effect of creep. Then how the what will be the behavior of aluminum under the creep? Number of spacers and per circle to be calculated from the short circuit forces. So you must make it for a design. You must do the short circuit calculations and then determine the number of spacers to be used, per circle to be used. Okay, I'm giving certain thumb rules, okay, which are no doubt to be verified again with the short circuit forces depending on the particular transformer. Corrugated cylinder, I already said, short circuit calculation must be carried out. Okay, to carry out to obtain the number of supports and the sizes. Ampere turn balancing is very important for the short circuit. Ampere turn balancing is very important for the short circuit forces to minimize. Otherwise, this is going to cause the problem. It is a basically, if it is not balanced, then it is compromised, then it is a seed defect. We were bound to appear. Specify minimum tapping as far as possible. Yes, this is for you. You should not use tappings as a liberty that you could specify any tapping you like, that you are putting your cost, so you are put any tappings plus minus any range. No. Whenever a tapping is there, it is a cause of reliability, poor reliability. So you specify whatever the tapping really requires. So minimum tapping should be specified. And clamp ring may be made of permalloy fiber that you can do. Okay, breather size, let me say around say 100 gram per 100 of liter of oil, but for smaller you require to put So you require to put more better size of the breather. No doubt utilities specify their own sizes, and they are quite reasonable. Then in okay. Now instructions for manufacturing must be very clear. Yes, I also propagate of all the times. Not and standard designs means you are getting a good product, and repair it becomes very fast, very easy, and it is very cheap. Now manufacturing for the workers, you must properly train worker. That is also a problem. Workers are not trained, and that is also a very little cost involved in training the workers, but the cost in manufacturing, in cost in terms of warranty period is very high if the workers are properly trained. Higher unbalanced current, this is again higher unbalanced current comes because your bindings are not identical. It means your workers are not sincere doing the job. Either their turns differs or the sizes of the coils is differing. That is the reason why unbalanced current is appearing. Then you have used annealed, no doubt. You use EC grade conductor, there is no component, there is no problem. But sometime for bus bar, if EC grade conductor is not used, then they are going to be failure because of no much cost of the bus bar. I have seen one failure on the short circuit only because of this reason. They use commercial gate unknowingly because they got from the market. For the bus bar, they have used commercial gate copper, and that only melted during the short circuit. That is the reason of failure once it appears. Proper core assembly, no doubt this is proper core assembly has to be done. Low loss transformer, no problem, you have to do and you must be doing. Then uniform binding conductor diameter, taking care against elongation during binding. Yes, this is very much true for aluminum bound transformers, that elongation is there of the aluminum bound transformer. As I told you, creep behavior is poor, fatigue behavior is poor, therefore more elongation during the manufacturing itself. If that happens, that may cause the failure. Good evening, nothing to say, you all know it. Then proper placement of binding from mechanical stress point of view. Yes, a symmetrical placement is needed for LT and HT, both the binding, right? Placement must be symmetrical, this must be seen. If placement is not symmetrical, then you are unnecessary inviting axial forces to damage the transformer. Okay. More care is required at aluminum joint. This is very important. See, I have told you in the earlier slide that you have changed house wiring from aluminum to copper. Why you have changed? Only because of joints. No other problem. Termination and joints. If termination and joints could have been perfect with aluminum, no issue. You can use aluminum wiring in the house. No problem. But it is a very serious problem. And this is a serious problem for LT termination. When LT termination is there, and if you don't have a spring action, you don't use washers, then you are inviting a serious problem for contact resistances at the joints, at the termination of LT binding, which is very important. Now it may not be appearing as a failure for quite a long time because LT, thicker conductors are there and there is oil under the oil, so local temperature is there, oil is getting deteriorated at faster rate, causing damage somewhere else, not causing damage in the LT side. So you are looking that damage is done not because of LT, damage is on the ST side, but it is really happened because of LT also contributed. It contributed by way of more heating, local heating at the joints, at the terminations. Radial spacers, I told you, must be equi-spaced in the circles to obtain full mechanical strength. This was the equilibrium, and supervisor must always see during the manufacturing spacers are properly placed. That is what we see. That is causing the problem most of the time. Whenever I visit the industry, maybe after 1 year or after 6 months, again I see they come back to this spacers are not equi-spaced. Whenever I go, I make them equi-spaced, but or sometimes they do, maybe labor may be changing, workers may be changing, but then again you see the same problem. So this must be continuously seen by the supervisor, because this is not a cost at all to the industry, but the reliability is become a issue. It becomes the poor and without any cost to the industry. So pre-compressed board, yes, you can use pre-compress, or properly opening is to be done, tightening is to be done. For tightening coils, dovetail arrangement must be used, so they are fixed in a proper position. Coils shall be pre-synced, yes, that is true. Emphasize coil support with bottom and top clamping channel must be proper and complete. Yes, channels must be completely, each channel and their inside of the core yoke, they must be properly insulated. This will not be cause of failure because of very small cost. At end, each radial spacer must have proper support. Yes, you look at all the radial spacer having a proper support from the channel or fasteners. Then where 8 tie rods have been provided, first job must be tightened with inner 4 tie rods. First tied with inner 4 tie rods, and thereafter outer 4 tie rod must be tightened. This care must be taken, because then you are fully taking the advantage of 8 tie rods. Okay. Radial spacer must be equal, this already said. Okay. Now this is next slides. Yes. Joints, connection and termination, very important. Estimated that 50% of the failures, okay, appearing due to the defect in joints, connectors and terminals. So this is a very alarming. You see many failures, many things happen in the electricity, hazards happen, short circuit happens. This is all because of the poor joints, mostly because of the poor joints, maybe other region, but mostly 50% is a too high number. Okay. Problem is most severe in case of aluminum bound transformer due to poor creep behavior of aluminum, that is already emphasized upon. There no practical mean. Yes, there is no practical means to determine the hot spot in the terminals and the bindings. Okay, especially for distribution transformer, we can't provide sensor or many things for this purpose. Somewhere hot spot is appearing in some corner, so you can't measure all the times what is the hot spot. It may appear in the service, during a service, okay, when creep has appeared, thereafter this might happen. Only to prevent by taking care in design, manufacturing, installation of the transformer, proper connection, proper joints, then what local hot spots can be avoided. Okay, so you must take care in the tap changers, that is the one particular area of the joints and moving parts, then joints connecting coils, joints within the coils, avoid joints within the coils. If at all you have to do it, then there must be proper joints. We are studying and we coming out with our guidelines with practical data that how joints are to be made. Hanging conductors, yes, this is very important. Hanging conductors, leads and bands. See, if you are having a termination leads without proper support, it means what? There will be vibration. When there will be vibration, these vibrations are causing fatigue. They are causing many other problems. Over there, their insulation is going to be damaged and there is no cost. You must provide proper support to the hanging connectors and leads, and you should avoid bends. Wherever you bend, there is chances of more fatigue. This must be avoided. This is very important. There is no cost.
Hello, Dr. Gupta, please check your voice. Please check your audio.
Early. That is what we are observing in warranty period. When there are failures, it means somewhere must be a manufacturing defect. Okay. Now see, during the operation, there is also the serious issues in our condition, Indian condition. You have abnormal transients. Okay, sustained abnormal operation of the transformer, it's abusing the transformer. Transformer is subjected to sun. So there is the issues. You have a high temperature and subjecting to sun. So unnecessary increasing in temperature of the transformer by 15 to 20 degrees centigrade for no reason. Okay, overloading is one issue. Cold load program is another issue, which is important nowadays. It is, you can say, reduced because we are giving a 24-hour supply. So why there is a cold load pickup problem? But this was some areas still, it is a rural area. To some area, this is still a very serious problem. That when I was giving this lecture on this particular problem in MP Electricity Board, then in Balaghat, what they were trying, they were managing this problem of cold load problem with public support. Please don't switch on whenever power supply is coming. So you switch on slowly and slowly, otherwise our transformer will fail. So see, this is also problem to be considered. Wherever it appears, it is more prominent for the post colonies. Post colony, where they were thermostatically controlled, thermostat controlled devices like geysers, ACs. Okay, where it is very serious problem. Okay, single facing, no doubt it is single facing in peak hours. You do perform. Okay, so you have to take care. Poor power factor is another problem. Higher ambient temperatures. We have higher ambient temperatures that may cause higher temperature rise of the transformer and failure of the transformer. Okay, use of static compensating devices. It means your computers, your various electronic devices used in the houses, in the industry. That is also coming lot of harmonics. So that is another kind of problem which is coming on the distribution transformers. It is also looked into in what locality it is happening. Okay. Now you have got other issues. Okay, that you may be knowing, which we have discussed. Atmospheric lighting discharges, they appear in certain areas highly, especially hilly areas. Then you switching operation, we already discussed. Poor power factor, we discussed. Grounding problem could be there. If it is not a proper ground, then it is floating, then that may cause the problem. Short circuits, yes, that all you know. Switching out, yes, this is also, you can say, a problem issue, that you should not switch off the transformer at no load. Switching off the transformer at no load causing the surge of high voltage within the winding, which may cause the failure. Remind again, transformers should not be switched off at no load. You must have some load. Okay, that's why whatever the energy is there in the inductance of the transformer, when you are switching off, it is dissipated. Otherwise, it will not be dissipated, then there will be high voltage. This may unnecessary cause the failure of the transformer. Okay, so this is what we have discussed. No doubt, regular inspection and maintenance aspect is there important, which I'm not discussing over here, but it is no doubt, every one of you know it is important, but it can only be possible if you have reliable transformer. If your transformer is failing with a rate of 10% and so, then periodical check become very difficult for such a huge mass, such a huge number of the transformer. It becomes unpracticable and too costly. Therefore, inherent strength of the transformer must be good. Once inherent strength of the transformer is good, then it is possible to do the good maintenance of the transformer. As already you have example of copper wound transformers being purchased by NDPL, Delhi company, and their failure rate is hardly 1%. Okay, and for 1% also they are worried. Why they are if 1% failure is there? So you can think of, when you have a failure rate such a low, then you can think of a periodical checkup. You can have the card. You can say, yes, this my transformer is 5-year-old. Then I can do some checking. Okay, data is to be taken, oil is to be taken, something is to be done. So this is quite important. No doubt, reliability and economics. If you have a good reliable transformer, it is economical rather than having a poor reliability and pay for failures and repairing the failed transformer. And you also must consider that CRGO is imported, copper is imported, oil is imported, your insulation is imported. It means you can think of the cost on the country, how much cost we are paying on this particular item, which is very important. We must think and make all effort to have the quality, highly reliable transformers. So now in the conclusion, which is obvious, which is also summarized over here, that we think of abnormal stresses which are coming in the rural transformer. Full load problem is very common in rural transformer. Then you're subjected to sun, which is very common problem. Then various kind of your transients and short circuit appearing in the rural area, that is also very common. That must be taken into account in making transformer. Whenever you have got such problem, then you are associated with another problem, inrush current. When you are switching on the transformer, when you are going to switch on the transformer, there is chances of inrush current, and this is inrush current is equivalent to a short circuit. So let us say about, you can say 10 times or 20 times you switch on the transformer, then you can say it is equivalent to one short circuit. Okay, something like that. So therefore, this higher inrush current is there because you are switching on the transformer many times in a year or in a day, and that must be avoided. But it is our condition, but it must be taken into account in taking various decisions, schedule cut or whatever it is, that in what manner that this switching could be reduced to a minimum extent. Scheduled power cut causes cold load pickup problem, which I explained. This creep, fatigue, and oxidation. Okay, that is we explained in details that why the copper is a better choice in manufacturing distribution transformer. Okay, no doubt we know, because we taken the decision for house wiring or many things to use the aluminum. The reason is very simple, because it is we have aluminum available within the country. Okay, and copper is quite a large quantity of copper imported. But now it is a global situation. Okay, you export aluminum for used for various purposes, you import copper. Okay, so this is now situation is different. because you are also exporting distribution transformers. Okay, there are many items, so it is a global situation. So its scenario is quite different. Soldering gauges may not be the point of so important for distribution transformer, but anybody using soldering in distribution transformer should stop. No, soldering should not be used wherever you have got the stress. Wherever stress is there, soldering cannot be used. When you don't have a stress, you can use the soldering. Rural transformer. Distribution transformer is deeply connected with the limiting the cause of failure right at the design stage. Yes, technical people must take the decision right at the technical level, at the designer, and designer must prepare proper instructions for production of each design. That is very important. It means whatever the designer thought, whatever the designer considered, it must be shared with the workers, must be shared with the workers. Not only with the supervisor, workers should also be educated. If this is important, why it is important. Therefore, worker also knows why I am being guided, I am being told again it is to be done like this. Therefore, it is very important to educate. We don't have a formal education for this industry, especially it is a small and medium scale industry, transformer manufactured, and therefore we don't have very serious training. Therefore, we require the training. Whoever is the supervisor, engineer, they must interact with the workers. I serve industry for one industry for 1 year, another industry for about 3 years, where I was directly interacting with the workers, also directly to the workers, that why I am doing this. I am discussing with them along with the supervisor why this decision is taken. So it is this education is imparted, it is given to them, then why they are doing. If they are doing, they know the reason for that. Okay, so now this is already discussed, and if you have try to have the inherently a good transformer, then what you're using, electronic reading, anything else for collecting data, for measuring or keeping the track of your health of the transformer is good enough, no doubt, but inherent strength of transformer is very important. Okay. Now we are performing another study, mechanization. I have already discussed utilities which use copper mount transformer to avoid failure due to poor creep behavior. This is very important. They must analyze, they must discuss, and they must have some pilot project, or they must consider things. And we have investigated, we studied this for 3 years in a project, and in which we studied, we found that creep behavior is very important to be considered in distribution transformer, and that has given the reason at many places to believe that by using the copper, replacing the copper in place of the aluminum, it will likely to be, it will give a good fruits. All what is happening, only we are manufacturing 25, 63, 100 kV and 200 kV transformer from the aluminum, and their failure rate is very high. So now this is thank you. I come back to the moderator over here. Okay.
So namaskar to all, and I am P.K. Patnaik, the coordinator of OSPAR group. So Definitely, I will just extend my sincere thanks to all the Spark members, those who have joined today, and also listen to the most eminent and also iconic speaker, Dr. Hariom Gupta. So, thanks, sir, for enlightening to our Spark members. So, the first question is something related to the title of your total presentation, I can say. The question is related that the aluminum wound transformer, basically the cheaper one as compared to the copper. And sometimes also whenever we go for testing of those transformers, it is basically meeting all those specifications and all the type test and everything. Then why for copper? So this is the first question asked. Please.
Yes. See, two aspects. One is the quality aspect, and another is the reliability aspect. Quality aspect is the one that you have performed all the tests and it passed all the quality tests. Now, reliability aspect is the one which is with the time frame, that how long it is going to happen. As I have discussed, it is not a creep is not an immediate phenomenon. If you want to see immediate result, then you take all the short circuit results of the aluminum bound transformers. What is the variation in the reactance of the aluminum bound transformer vis-a-vis to the copper bound transformer? You will get a one picture. That is the immediate one. Okay, but it is a time bound problem, because
exactly.
I again ask, why you have changed your house wiring? Why you have changed? Means you change your house wiring, I don't not bother about the transformer. See, house wiring also, when it is done, it pass all quality tests, whatever quality test it will pass. But reliability is different. Reliability is with time. So it creep takes time. When it creep is in place, then it happens. See, you were seeing your plugs burning in the house earlier. When you are saying you take a 5 ampere plug and you flow 5 ampere current, it will burn. Why it was burning? Reason was only the joint of aluminums. And I was not knowing at that time also. I was saying aluminum is big or light. But why it is happening? When we study, yes, it is because of the creep. It is happening. That is the reason. So it is a quality and reliability issues.
Well, sir, there is a interesting question whether the use of internal circuit breaker inside the tank of distribution transformer has the effect on performance and failure rate of distribution transformers.
See, I am not in favor. You can put a circuit breaker inside or outside. Okay, protection you can do, but if inherent strength of the transformer is not good, then it is not going to help. You have provided these self-protected transformers, you did not succeed. Okay, you provided circuit breakers, you could not succeed. Okay, they are good when your inherent strength of the equipment is good. If inherent strength of the equipment is not good, its reliability is poor, then it is not of much help. It is not of much help, because whatever the circuit breaker will operate, before that stress has already appeared in the transformer and some damage has already been done. Okay, you have saved the damage of the time, but some damage already has been done. It is more in case when creep is more or fatigue is more.
Well, sir, thank you. I have an interesting question from a policy perspective. I think that will be very interesting to be answered. High failure rate in rural side is because of overloading and unbalanced loading. Can we have separate design for rural DTs to withstand higher overloading?
See, higher overloading you can have, see, designs, but for everything you have got a certain limit. You have to pay the cost for that. Okay, proper supply, proper network is important. Okay, once you ask for a different design, then I will ask, why not a higher rating? Question is, why not higher rating? Or if you have a specific problem, say short-time problem, let us say you have a mixie in your house, all right, it operate for half a minute or 1 minute operation, then it's switched off, isn't it? You can't have like that. You can't have like that is transformer, all right, we operate for half an hour or 10 minutes, then switch off, then again we will operate. We can't do. Therefore, we can do certain things, we can definitely do, no doubt, but not too many things. Something, some minor.
You are not audible, sir.
Okay, I think sir is not audible. Mr. Patnaik, his audible voice is coming and going. So you can take to the next question when he's. Please take your next question. Probably read it out for him.
Yeah, Dr. Gupta, am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, actually, one of the general question have come to us. Basically, they said that India, we are of one country, one nation, one frequency. Why not to have one kind of standardized transformer, like DT1 standardized transformer? Should we have? We can have.
I am proposing, though I was a designer, I am a designer, okay, it is designer laws, but I always propagate. Standard design will provide many solutions,
Exactly.
Unhealthy competition will not be there, number one. Number two, your coils will be identical, so repair will be very fast. I can make the number of coils beforehand, and I know the repair will come in, let us say, in June or July or May. Whenever the transformer comes, immediately I can repair. Okay, so repair will be fast and cheaper. It will be cheaper also, and no doubt there is not much left in the, say, you can say, the design of a distribution transformer. It is much in taking care, because once it designs, another problem is there. Small scale industries do not have good designers. They can't afford to have. Very simple. They can't pay, because if pay to the designer, then what we pay to other supervisor, other technocrats. Okay, the salaries will not be comparable. Therefore, it can't afford a good designer. Once you standardize the design, then definitely all the industries has a good design, whatever it is. If there is a defect in the design, then it can be analyzed, it can be changed, it can be improved upon. So that is very important. If we can make a product with the same design, everybody making with the same design, then it is very good for the nation, no doubt.
Dr. Gupta, one more question. It is also one of the generalized question which will be addressing to the all audiences also. Something like one maintenance-free transformer, like a span of 10 years. So we'll be having that kind of a transformer, no maintenance and all, and after 10 years, it will be just thrown away, just like use and throw. Could it be possible
Yes.
to have it as per the Indian scenario is concerned?
See, once we say maintenance-free transformers, means what? Means a reliable transformer you want. When you want a reliable transformer, one main aspect is the termination. Your termination has to be perfect. If the failure is appearing because of binding or something happening, fault, something okay, sustained abnormality, then failure is off. So one thing is the that I am telling you, the terminations, not all other aspects are there, design and material. And then another aspect, that is the oil, the deterioration of the oil, that has to be looked into. Otherwise you don't need anything. There are many transformers working for 10 years.
Yeah, that means you are in support of speaking that we should have such kind of transformer, and India scenario or India context, we are now ready to accept it, that kind of maintenance free transformer.
Yes, and it will be possible only if we have, there are only two things. Either you have a standard design, common design, then you can
Exactly.
say anything is very cheap, okay, very easy to take, or you take the services of the transformer. So industry have their own transformer, we are not bothered, all right, and they supply. Okay, so he has a transformer, he is charging from us per month basis, whatever may be. Okay, then it is his headache. Okay, to maintain the transformer, that could be, then he will put a best transformer, no compromise. He knows it. That could be another scenario. So he
Exactly.
he may not be interested in rural areas. He may be interested in urban areas, or maybe charge a different.
Yeah. And of course, Manasi, I will be taking one more. And by the way, that is also one of the general question. Basically, harmonics, overloading, temperature control, then kind of protections. These are the few points to be considered very seriously. This has been suggested by maximum of participants also. So in that aspects, how do you correlate the digital kind of sensors we are using in the present era of a transformer? Can it be correlated and to attend some?
Yes, see, we have a provision for the power factor. We have a penalty or incentive for the power factor. We do not have a provision for the harmonics. We have a provision for the harmonics, should not be more than that. But harmonics is becoming more important. Again, if you see there are wind energy, there a transformer is there, where metal part of the bushing were failing. Why they are failing? There are vibrations because of presence of the harmonics. It is not only the loss that we directly see. Higher loss is due to harmonics. That part we see, but we don't want to see that there are also vibration, mechanical vibration of the same harmonics in the metal parts of the device, whatever transformer or other things are there. They are eroding. The study is needed. They are also causing the failure. Okay, that is the failure of termination mostly will appear, and that appear maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, a longer period of time. It is again a reliability problem, but it must be studied and must be looked into. That harmonics is not only from the loss point of view, also should be looked from the mechanical vibration point of view. That is also important to have the, if you want a reliable transformer, you talk of the 10 years or 20 years. I don't want to see this side. I am okay. I have trust my transformer is not failing. Then we require study in the location where harmonics is more. What is going to happen?
Now, Dr. Gupta, actually, one more very, very important question. Even also, I appreciate that particular question should be discussed in this forum. Basically, some people, they say that we are using for the transformer for railway system, and those transformers are reliable as compared to ours. So why not to go for all the transformers to be like the railway traction kind of transformers?
See, railway transformers, their testing criteria are little higher. Okay, number one, their testing is voltage levels, testing criteria higher. Okay, they are all copper bound transformers, none aluminum. They all take copper bound transformers. Okay, and whatever loading is there, that loading is predefined. You know that loading is not going to be more than that. So no doubt there is no overloading. And then they are 24-hour charged. There is no switching, or there is a minimum switching, you can say. Okay, it is only because of fault switching is there. Everyday switching is not there. See, our transformer in our conditions are subjected to many bad things. Okay, means switching is there, overloading is there, then your temperature is there. Okay. So therefore, and it is causing a lot of cost on us, lot of cost on us. So it has to be looked into from that particular. And I am telling you, told also in my lecture, that transformers should not be switched off on no load. There must be, whenever you are switching off a transformer, there must be some load. If it is, if anybody in normal, you see, if I am switching off a motor, I remove.
Dr. Gupta, sorry for interrupting in between, but question is that as far the operational aspects are concerned, I think is not audible. Dr. Gupta, am I audible? Hello? Hello? Manasji, you can answer also on behalf of Dr. Gupta. This is a very simple question. You are already in this job. So,
Yes.
Dr. Gupta, is it audible?
Yes, yes.
I think he's missing voice sometimes.
Yeah. Actually, this question also to both Manasji and also Dr. Gupta. Basically, what happens as per the railway transformer and the general kind of transformers what now we are using, operational aspects only differ. Operational aspects in the sense, say, switching on, switching off, and running with overload, running with no load, and all sort of things. But as for the design of the transformer, the kind of material we are using, you have exactly pointed out the very pertinent point that we should be using the copper as the winding. You have used the very pertinent point. So can't we have the kind of our transformers which are generally being used of a copper winding as one of the common factor as far the design aspects are concerned? Operational is not there with us. So we should, at least as far my view is concerned, and Manasji also you can just supplement to it. So operational aspects you just follow up, I mean say, leave it aside, whereas the consideration of designs and the material used, we should be coming in the same way as per the traction transformer and also ours. Manasji, please.
Okay, if I may try to reply this, you are right. Operationally, only we are little different. But in case of our distribution companies, distribution transformer, use of aluminum or copper, the question comes not only the performance, but also the economics. Now, if we are having a failure rate of 20 or 25% across India, that means every 4 years we are replacing one distribution transformer. So it's a virtual cycle of business. Whereas a distribution transformer should give us nothing less than 25 years of technical life, as even prescribed by CEA. So the question is, as a nation, whether we should look at continuous failure or we should look at the reliability and continuity of supply. And that's why the life cycle cost, the right design criteria, and as Dr. Gupta explained, that often we look at transformer as an electrical equipment. So look at electrical designer's point of view, the flux density, and we start designing. We do not take into consideration the mechanical part of this, this creep behavior, the stress and varieties of stress. And this, once we take it into consideration, then probably we'll be seeing the differential in a 3-star transformer. Today, if aluminum versus copper takes place, it will be around 30% differential. The moment you try to address in proper manner, as far as the manufacturing practice and operational practice, probably you will be seeing the operational cost, the life cycle cost will make it more competitive by going for copper. So we have to take a very balanced call, looking at our finances, because it is ultimately the business. Now you see the private distribution companies, they look at the business very seriously, so they take the best out of their assets. In case of public distribution company, we are having shortfall of our money. So when we are investing little money, let us invest for the right purpose. That's what is the message what should go. And I think we already have many more questions. So I wish to take a 2-3 minutes. I must thank Dr. Gupta and for his presentation. Basically, it's an eye-opener for many of us as far as how we should look at a transformer, which is a very, very vital asset for the distribution system as a whole. And if we can increase the reliability and the efficiency of the transformer, there were many questions like in case of COVID situation, when you expect an increase in the domestic demand and significant decrease in commercial demand, if so, then how it will affect the domestic transformers in the urban residential areas. So there are very interesting questions. We would like to compile those questions and make a depository of replies so that it is available to each one of our participants. Due to our time constraint, I'm sorry that we are not able to continue further. Snehal, you can give me the access to the screen so that I can take it to the conclusion.
Yes, just one.
Snehal, are you hearing?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm giving you Bharat. 1 second, I'm just giving. Yeah, you will be able to present.
Right. So while I thank today's speaker, Dr. Gupta, I would like to draw attention of all our participants that we'll have a series of topics in this area of distribution system efficiency and reliability improvement by many of the sectoral experts. We would look forward to your participation in future. And I once again take this opportunity to thank Dr. Gupta for a very live presentation. Thank Mr. Patanaik and our colleagues Snehal, Rahul, and many others who have been worked tirelessly to bring this series to you. And we would be in touch. Please feel free to drop your questions to get it clarified even by email. And we would like to revert back to you. Thank you once again. Have a safe time in this lockdown 4.0. Like industry 4.0, we are in lockdown 4.0. And definitely if we take a prudent step rather than penny wise pound foolish, with all our limitations, we can be doing a great job even at MSME level to produce a very good transformer which does not fail for 25 years. And we can be proud of that, which will in fact impact our distribution company's health and reduce our energy cost. Thank you once again. Have a safe time and goodbye.
It's okay. Thank you all. Namaskar at this point of time.
Thank you.